Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Girlish. My name is Gage, and I'm here with my co-host, Olivia.
Hey everyone, it's me. We're struggling right
I just
now.
want everyone to know we had to record the intro like 7 times.
Literally, oh my god. I think the first time we went over it, I was like, "Halo." I don't know. I'm
It was
like,
just a word that you created. It's okay.
yeah, I mean, I'm trying to be different, you know? Like, I don't know what to say.
It was definitely different.
I mean, we start the episode off like the same every episode. And so I'm like, what can I say that's like, unique?
We tried to spice it up a little
Right.
bit. Yeah, so we're struggling today. Also, I apologize if I sound a little bit off. I've been literally screaming all weekend. So that's why if I sound a little different.
I love that though. You've had what it points out is that this weekend has been fun for you.
It's
So,
been fun, very
yeah.
exhausting. I went out Friday and Saturday, and in both situations we were in places where there was a lot going on, like a lot of people talking, loud music. So naturally, you have to yell in order to be heard and have a conversation with people. So, yeah, my voice is definitely shot. And after today, after we film this, I'm not talking to anybody else for the rest of the day. Like, I'm done speaking.
No, I feel
I'm
that.
done.
I mean, you went out 2 nights in a row. I never go out, so it's always so, like, foreign to me. I feel like I live vicariously through you. When you're like, "I'm going out tonight," and I'm like,
Oh
"Okay, what are we doing? What's on the
my God.
agenda?"
Yeah, it's been crazy lately. And I'm going out next week. So Alice is coming to visit next
Oh,
week.
fun.
We're going out again. So
That's
that
cool.
that'll be a separate story because there's a lot of funny
I'm
details about that
literally
visit that I think would be
Oh
hilarious
my
to
god,
share.
I just remembered.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited
So
to hear all about that.
stay tuned.
Yeah, make sure you keep watching. I want to say before we move on that we've been getting a lot of great feedback from our last episode, and I feel like we've a lot of people resonated towards it, and I think the title is kind of what made people like want to click on it. So it's been like a really well received episode, and I think I've gotten a lot of like responses to um, the episode, and I have some perfect comments that I want to read to you really quick
Stop.
because I think when you post a YouTube video, it's out of your hands completely with how people respond to your video, right? So a lot of times if you post a YouTube video with the title like is being trans contagious, people are going to click on it that maybe you wouldn't have expected to click on it. And I think some of these are really funny. I think my favorite comment is y'all both have Adam's apples, and it
Well,
just
yeah, babe.
I'm sorry.
What do you expect?
Like, why would you click on like a trans hosted podcast and feel the need to like attack us like that?
Do
Did
you
I
think I
ask
don't
for?
know? Do you think I don't see it?
Do you think we
Tell
live
me.
every days of our life and not think about it 24/7?
We might be a little bit delusional, but there are certain things that we can accept, and that's one of them. But I'm really glad that they were able to point that out to us.
We have less than 1% of the population is made up of orphans, yet 40% of trans kids are from this social group. My question is, what is the reason, do you think? So we got attacked by this statistic that I was like, that's interesting. I'm going to look it up and I'm going to see if I can find whatever this guy is talking about. Nothing. Like, literally, there's no research or anything to back up whatever he's saying. I didn't even find an article close to see what he was referring
Wait,
to.
so what is he even referring to? Trans orphans? Like,
He's
what
saying
exactly are you saying?
40% of trans kids are orphans. And like
Okay.
I was like, there's no way. So I looked it up and like that's not true at all. Like I even like EBSCO hosted it. Like I was like seriously like digging
Yeah.
through fucking like data and like I could not find and I because I love me some stats. I love me some data. And like I couldn't find it. So I'm like, share your sources, sir.
You should respond. Say, can you send me the link? I really want to look into this. And then we can talk about it.
But yeah, literally, I mean, I did. I actually messaged him and I was like, please just share it to me because that's literally not true. Um,
That's the thing with YouTube. It's like I've noticed some of like the shorts or just the entire videos that we upload, sometimes it ends up on a weird part of YouTube that you just aren't expecting. And that's really just the nature of the site itself and why I genuinely hate YouTube comments. Like they're so random and out there, and sometimes it's just like I don't know, they like comment on things that we literally addressed or like say that we didn't talk about certain things when we literally did. So it's like I don't know, I feel like most people just watch 20 seconds of something and then come to their own conclusions and then make a comment.
It's kind of crazy because I mean, this is really the only social media I feel like we get hate from. Because TikTok, I feel like people are pretty supportive. Our Instagram, even when we post reels, we don't get really much hate. But YouTube is like the Wild West. Like they are out for blood. They are like, I see the specific title, I know what I'm clicking on, and I'm gonna attack them. And like, yeah, it's always really funny though for me. Before I think because we have such a small audience on YouTube that I'm worried that like if someone's gonna read a hateful comment coming to our video, they might be offended by it or they might have some preconceived notion about what our podcast is about. So like a part of me really just wants to delete it and like move on. But I think it's even funnier though, it's just to respond, just to, like be like, who hurt you?
I think we should be responding. I'm going to start looking more into the YouTube comments and responding because I feel like we should. They're trying to engage in a dialogue with us. And the least that we could do is respond to them because they really do bring up some really interesting points.
It's
And
I
it's like entertaining to talk about the comments because sometimes they're a little out there.
One person commented, "So, who adopted whose way of talking?" So evidently we both talk
I
similarly.
definitely don't think we talk the same.
I don't think so
We
either. I feel like
literally do not speak the same.
yeah, I don't think so. I think there's like some phrases that we say that we think are funny, like slay or like, pop
Yeah.
culture things, but I feel like that's just like the nature of social media where people have the same slang terms. But I'm like, we don't sound similar at all, I don't think.
Are they trying to infer that because we're both trans that we both have the same voice? That's a little rude.
That's a little
A little
transphobic, don't you think?
disrespectful. Very
Um,
disrespectful, actually.
Someone commented, "Blokish, more like it," and I thought that was really
Not
funny.
blow.
I was like, "Okay, trans audience,
It's
like,
okay.
fan."
Listen, we are a trans podcast. It's so funny to me that the comments are like trying to point out that we're trans. Like, we know, babe. We know. You don't
Like,
have to tell us.
that's the whole point
It's
of the
like the
show.
most obvious thing that you could say. At least comment
Well
on like my hair or the fact that I have a ladder behind me in my living room. Like something interesting, please. Like it doesn't
What
have to be so obvious.
I've been meaning to what is the ladder? Why?
It's from my old position at work and they never like came to pick it up. So I just have a ladder sitting in my movement.
I
It's
love
really
that for you.
aesthetic though. I'm gonna hang fairy lights on it.
Did you ever have to go on a roof with the ladder?
I did.
Oh my god, I can see you. Did you have a construction hat on?
No, I didn't have to
Oh,
wear a hat.
damn.
I probably should have though, considering my house is clumsy.
That's really funny. I can
So yeah, that's
imagine
why
your
I have a
ass on a
ladder in my
roof.
backyard. If anyone's wondering why there's a ladder just sitting there.
That's really funny. Cause yeah, it's been there the past like several episodes, and I'm like, should I ask what that's about?
I pretend like she's not there.
Honestly, though, when I went to visit you,
Ruining
I
the
didn't even
aesthetic.
see her, so like, I think it's fine.
Okay. Good.
I think
I'm
it'll
glad.
people just get used to it. It's kind of the decor at this point.
Yeah. So YouTube is unhinged as always. Thanks for really confirming the reason why we stopped making YouTube videos.
Literally. I
Like,
mean,
thank
we
you.
we do have a lot of support though. Like, people there's comments saying best podcast, high key.
Oh my god.
Um our fave, who comments all the time on all of our things, who will probably be listening to this, said, "I love Olivia's smiles. This is my favorite podcast."
It lights up the entire room.
Yeah,
Truly.
truly.
Gorge.
Or someone said, um, love you girlies. Like we get good responses. People are kind.
Yeah.
But yeah, this video I think is like our highest viewed episode. And so I was expecting these comments, and I wanted to read them to you because I thought they were just so like, some of them were just unhinged, but it's really funny.
That just means we're blowing up more.
I know, right?
We're reaching broader and vaster audiences. That's all it
Reddit
means.
loves us.
That's all it means. Honestly,
Yeah.
we were saying a couple days ago, like, if Reddit loves us, that's the only validation I need because I'm scared of Reddit. It's so
Yeah.
intimidating to me.
I worry. I think Reddit has a rep of it being like a conservative, like ground,
It's
like
so
breeding
scary.
ground, and so there's like a lot of like little subreddits that are like really scary. So I don't go on it often because I'm really afraid of like the community there as well. Like
Yeah.
it just seems different than like the kind of people we are. But every time we post, everyone's like super normal and like super nice, and I'm like,
Love
okay,
that.
maybe we have like the wrong idea.
Yeah. Oh my God. So this is kind of related because I had a nightmare this morning. That's literally the reason I woke up. I woke up in fear of my life. So basically, I was at the fair, which makes sense because I went to the fair last week. And someone comes up to me and taps me on the shoulder, and I turn around and they're like, "Are you Gage from the Girlish Podcast?"
No.
And I was like, "Yeah, I am actually." I was like, "How do you know that?" And they were like, "I actually listened to a recent episode that you did." And I was like, "Oh, that's really cool. I'm glad that you listened to it." And it was like an older man. And he was like, "There was this point in the podcast where you did a dramatic reading. And the dramatic reading was my tweet. And after he said that, this man kidnapped me. He picked me up
What?
from the middle. I don't know why nobody stopped him.
What?
He picked my ass up and started running through the fair with me on his shoulder. And he kidnapped me. And like as he was running through the crowds of people, I was screaming and kicking, and I just woke up instantly. And I was like, I think we need to stop dramatic. I'm just kidding. I'm not
I,
going to stop. But I just thought it was funny because what if that happens? What if like
that's like, it gets back to them.
yeah.
That is
But we don't say
interesting.
username. So like you really have to be very very like in depth with your research to find it because we don't say who said it.
Unless
So,
it's like a political figure, like a Ben
yeah.
Shapiro or something. But like, that's interesting.
So that's how I woke up this morning.
But that just goes to show how powerful uh dramatic reading is. So,
Yeah.
and the
It
impact it
definitely caused a
has.
commotion.
I love the fact that he just picked you up.
No, he picked my ass up,
You're
threw me
coming
over
with
his
me.
shoulders, and no one did a thing. It was like I was invisible and I was being kidnapped and nobody cared. Just transphobic.
That is so transphobic.
Yeah.
I love
So
that
that
he
was
just
like a
like,
fun way to wake up.
but honestly, like maybe it was affirming. Like he swept you up like a little girl. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh my God. Yeah, it was kind of romantic. Like very gently, just whisked me away and
You don't know where he was taking
it was
you.
great. I don't. Maybe he was taking me to go back on the zipper or to
Oh,
buy me
truly.
like a hot dog.
Have
I'll
you
never know.
seen the black phone?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, I feel like that's the vibe I'm getting where he took you.
Literally, that's what I got from it because that guy just snatches people up in the middle of the open and walks away with them.
Just locks them in his basement. That's really funny. How
Yeah.
unhinged.
So that just goes to show what my brain is thinking when I'm asleep.
I love that you're dreaming about us though.
I know
Like this
Girlish was
podcast
in
is
my
like,
dream.
that's crazy. I wonder why you with your little Spotify tote bag you walk around with
Oh
everywhere.
no, that's probably why.
Literally,
My
all
little
you think
Spotify
about
creator
20.
day tote.
Yeah, all you think about every day is girlish because that's all that matters.
I'm manifesting for it to be my
Exactly.
full-time job. So
Watch that happen one day where someone, honestly, if you see us in public, just pick us up and take us.
just pick me up and carry me away.
We won't be offended.
That's the best way
Mm,
to compliment me.
That's really funny though. Like I don't think my dreams are always like super realistic. Like like something that can actually happen, like something like you're describing. So that's like my biggest fear is like seeing someone in public that like has watched us and like wants to do something like is like not like a fan, like a hater. And like that always worries me. Spooky.
Yeah. So how have you been? Anything
Uh
new? What's the tea?
so I want to say that this podcast makes me hate myself. I feel like
Uh,
we're just talking shit about girls right now. But like, so I have to edit this podcast and I edit like the clips and stuff. And every time I watch myself, I'm like, wow, I fucking hate this about myself. I hate this about myself. So, because I have to keep like watching it. And
mhm.
like, this is like a weekly thing. So if I'm having a bad hair day, then like for
Oh.
the entire week when I'm editing clips and uploading them, I have to look at my bad hair. So when I'm editing and I'm doing a little editing, I like notice little quirks about myself. So I have something called Duane syndrome where it like I can't move my eye left, one eye stays because there's like a dead nerve or something. And I've talked about it in like YouTube videos in the past and stuff, but sometimes we'll get comments of people saying like, why is Olivia doing that thing with her eye or whatever? So that's why if you see it, sometimes when I'm like rolling my eyes, it does that. So if you see me doing that, that's why, but I have to like deal with that and like have people talk about that. Or I've been noticing like I'm have like a little like crooked tooth on the bottom of my teeth, and I'm like I need braces now. So I have a scheduled appointment on Monday for a consultation for like clear liners because this podcast has made me hate myself.
That's a good point. Like, I mean, it's not a good point, but it's so true. Like, sometimes I will open like the video portion and I see my hair is fucked up or I look a certain way and I immediately just go straight to audio. I don't even want to see the video. I just
Yeah,
pretend like it didn't happen. Like that's not what I looked like that day. It's not.
especially like last episode, I like had a little blue light on in the background, and like the way it was illuminating my face and my bangs were super straight, like because I had just like washed them so they hadn't like really curled well. I just like felt like I looked ugly. My also my bangs are growing out and I really need a haircut, and I have one scheduled, but like I just like yeah, I have to look at myself for a whole week, uploading, posting these videos everywhere, and like I do not. And we had like that funny Cracker Barrel moment, and like I wanted to share it, but I'm like I look so bad, so that's kind of where I'm
I
at.
want everyone to really just listen to what we're saying and understand what you've put us through. The amount of people that have told us that we need to film this podcast and have a video version. Well, are you happy now? Are you happy listening to what it's doing to us?
It's literally you're ruining my life by
This
making
bitch
me
is
want.
getting braces
I'm
because
getting
of you.
braces because of this. But literally, I want like clear liners, and I it sucks because like there's a million things. I'm like, I need a nose. Now I want a nose job. Emily and I are talking about like what surgeons we can go to get like facial reconstruction and shit done because
Stop.
she also wants a nose job. So I'm like, well, like maybe I could do this and like maybe it'll make me feel better and like truly like I'm so unhinged right now. I need something to change.
And honestly, it's not a bad thing either. Like we I feel like most people don't really look at themselves as much as we probably do just because we film ourselves talking. So you really do get to see what you look like. And if there's certain things that you want to change, that's perfectly fine. But it's also like a little rough to have to look at yourself constantly
Hmm.
doing things. So I
So
feel that
catch me next
for
episode with a
sure.
brand new
You
face.
just look completely different.
Yeah, honestly, I want that to happen. I'm worried about getting surgery. I don't know if you felt this way when you were working and you got surgery. I don't know if you were worried that you would come back and everyone would notice
Oh
like
my
the
God.
changes.
Literally my worst nightmare.
Like
And
I'm
I'm so happy
scared.
nobody did.
Like I had a boob job scheduled before I was in my car accident and I had to like not cancel it, but like I was so worried I was gonna show up to work with like the biggest tits and everyone's gonna be like, "What the fuck?"
Like, are you wearing a bombshell bra from Victoria's Secret?
I'm like, definitely,
What's
that's
going
what it
on?
is. Oh my god, that's another thing too. I keep like, I don't know. I want every surgery, and then I'm so scared.
It's
Like, I feel like,
so overwhelming to like think about it.
yeah, I love gender dysphoria.
Oh my God. Speaking of work, So I went skydiving a couple weeks ago,
Oh my
and I
god.
didn't really share. I don't think I told you this. Did I tell you this? What
I
happened this
don't
week?
know. You didn't.
Okay. So my manager was like, I want to see some pictures of you skydiving. So I was like, okay, that's fine. And I didn't share really any photos besides one or two on my Instagram because they are treacherous, horrifying, horrific images because I'm flying towards Earth, hurtling at a speed of 125 miles an hour. Obviously, I'm not going to look good. My cheeks are flapping in the wind. My hair is in my face, whatever the case may be. So I try and find the best of the best to send to her because I'm like, if my manager's going to see me skydiving, I want me to look somewhat presentable. So I show her and she's like, "Oh my god, these are so cool. I want to go skydiving. Can I share these with our team?" And there are four other people on my team. So I'm like, "Fine. I don't care if these four other people on my team see me skydiving. That's perfectly fine." Turns out she shares the photos to my entire branch.
No.
My whole branch. Everybody that works in my office.
No.
And it's so she shared it. We have like this community page that she shared it on, and then she also sent it out in an email and like sent it to literally everybody in our branch, so like 70 people. And all day on Friday I was just getting emails from people in my branch saying, "Wow, Gage, you're so brave for going skydiving. This looks so fun." Meanwhile, I literally look like a rat flying through the air.
Oh
So
my god. That's the
yeah.
worst.
And I haven't met most of my coworkers in person, obviously, because we work remote. So anytime I pop up in a meeting or I'm mentioned, they will just see me with my cheeks blowing in the wind, skydiving, which is really cool and fun. I'm the
I
skydiving girl.
I hate when like that happens. Like, oh my, I would kill myself. Honestly. Like I get it. Like what was the point? Just to be like
I don't
my
know.
like our office is like super like fun. Like what was the point of like wanting to share it?
I
she
can't give
just
you an answer. I
she
really
was just
can't.
like look at this employee
I guess she just
skydiving.
wants to, I don't know, maybe it's a way of like building a community and
Oh, I
relating
mean,
to each other.
yeah,
But I don't have to be the scapegoat for that, babe. You could have posted your own pictures, like what you did during the weekend, not me.
I love that.
So, yeah, that was fun.
I want to
I love
see. I've only seen one picture. Maybe I've seen two pictures.
I will
So
send you some. I trust
mm,
you. I know
yeah,
you're
send them
not
to
going to go
me,
cut
and
me
then
up
I'm
off
gonna
like that.
send them
No,
to
those
me. I'm
are
gonna post them on my Instagram story. I'm gonna make this like a short and then just post them all over the
I'm
short.
going to scream.
But
You'll have
that's
to find a
really
new
funny.
partner.
The podcast is ended.
Yeah.
That kind of happened to me. I posted about like when Girlish did this our like stories for the Spotify thing. Whenever we like shared like a monumental like turning stone in our life. Do you remember that? What is it called? The It was that little story thing that we did for Spotify. I forgot
Um,
what it was called.
yeah.
It was just earlier this year. It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
But I think it was just called Storytellers or something like that. But we
Storytellers, that's what it was.
yeah. So I posted on my LinkedIn because I was like, this is really cool. And it's like my LinkedIn. And like I guess I have people connected to it at my work. But like it was like under like under my control. And I guess someone in my office, and I don't know, I hope they're not listening. If they are listening, I'm not mad. I just thought it was like alarming all at once. But she was like, "Oh, this is great. I'm going to take this video and then I'm going to write about it in the group chat, like in the whole like learning and development teams group chat saying, "Congrats Olivia on being on like Spotify's like story time playlist." Or she said something about like, "Congrats Olivia for like sharing your story." And then like with no context. So like not even saying that it was a Spotify thing, like completely leaving it up to me to provide the additional information
Oh my
because everyone
god.
was like, "What? Like what are you talking
Yeah.
about?" So then I was like, "Oh my god." So then I had to like talk about how like Spotify reached out to us and we did this and then everyone wanted the link and then so I had to fucking out myself to the entire community or like to the entire like like whatever. So I was like, oh my God. And then she messaged me afterwards. She was like, I hope that was okay that I posted. And I was like, yeah, it was
Sure.
fine.
It's
So
like you do kind of want to give a little bit of personality at work just to kind of connect to people a little bit better. But at the same time, you're my coworker. You
yeah,
really don't need to know every single aspect of my life. I like to keep some of that private unless like
right.
I feel like there are certain relationships like you can get really close to a coworker, but in general, I don't want my entire company to know my business, I guess.
No
I
one
don't
needs to
know.
know you went skydiving on your birthday.
Literally. Like
Like,
who
that's the last thing people need to
like
care
what?
about.
But I guess my manager had different thoughts.
I love that, though. I love that we're just special, you know? People want to talk about us, and
We're
that's
so
okay.
interesting that people just want to share our story with others.
We need to go skydiving together.
You just like pass out in the middle of
I
the air.
I probably would, but
I
I would
look
do it
over
with
and you're
you.
just like
I've decided
calm
I want to
down.
do it now. Right
Really?
now
Oh
in
my
this
god.
instance. Yeah.
Truthfully, like actually,
Um
we will go. We will record an episode while
in
descending
the
from the
air.
sky. Yeah.
On it, I mean, I would do it. I would be really scared, but I would do it. Like
Oh
I
my
like
god,
roller
maybe
coasters. I get a little dizzy sometimes when I like get up too fast, but like I
I
think I
will
could do it.
say you luck going on the zipper. The zipper gave me a bruise. I was not harmed whatsoever going skydiving.
How was the
So
landing of skydiving? Like did it
they
hurt?
land for you, the person that you're
Oh,
attached
okay.
to. And you lift your legs up and they land for you. You don't have to do
Oh,
anything.
fun.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do it.
Oh my god.
I
Wait, we're gonna
die.
go skydiving.
I'm literally I'm dead.
I fully can just see you unconscious in the air.
Probably. I wonder if that happens to people if they
I
just
saw a
pass
video of
out.
somebody literally pass out and then they woke up and they were still falling and they were freaked out, obviously.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That would be crazy. That 100% would be something I would do.
But
Um,
yeah,
let me
we're gonna do a
see.
skydiving trip for sure.
Literally. I'm looking into okay. Because there's something else I wanted to talk about and I'm really excited about. So, I don't know if anyone knows who Sapphire is, Stories with Sapphire on Spotify. She also has a YouTube channel, but I really want to talk about this because I was on her or I was I'm going to be on her podcast. So she had me on. Luckily it was really cool. We talked about ghost stories. So I think she said it might be up in October. So it's a little bit of time from now. But I want
That's the
everyone
perfect
to like
time. Spooky
spooky
season.
season exactly. She said that her season is ending and she's going to edit it like later. And so that she will post it sometime next month or in the following months. So keep out for some spooky stories.
That's so fun. Don't tell me. I want to be surprised and spooked when I
The
listen
way
to
that
her birthday.
okay, like I'm very envious about like how other people like have their podcasts or like how they like record their shows because it honestly makes me really insecure because I'm obviously our show is nothing like hers in any way. Like she recorded me talking for like an hour asking me questions and then when she edits she like she makes a story out of the story that I'm going to be telling or out of the story that others tell. So she cuts her voice out completely and then she like edits it in a way where it has like a really nice flow and it has like spooky vibes to it. So I'm really excited to see how she shares mine. But the whole thing, like she had like a whole calendar set up where she was like, yeah, just, put a time in my calendar and like we'll record. And I'm like, okay, Pooja, okay, calendar.
Okay, Miss
Like,
Organized
okay.
Queen.
Okay, organized. And I love her. And she was so sweet. Like, genuinely so kind. So I'm super excited to be on it. We talked about a little girl that haunted my house when I was a
Oh,
kid.
girl.
A little girl.
That was
She's
you.
bitch,
It was
maybe.
literally you.
Okay, so this little girl that haunted my like house, like really like haunted my younger sisters. And like I barely had any experiences. And
It
I
was
and
you,
I
bitch.
honestly, like, mom so evidently my mom had the theory that, like, it only, like, connected with little girls because it wanted to play with them, and so I'm like, "This bitch was transphobic." Like, that's the whole like, that's why she didn't wanna talk with me.
That's
So,
so
like, oh my
funny.
god. But it was cute. It was like a lot of like fun talks. So I'm excited for everyone to listen to that because I think you'll like it.
Okay, so I saw my mom last week and I tried on her wedding ring because, it's might be about time for me to start thinking about getting married. And it fit perfectly. She was like, this is a size 6. So I'm like, okay, I'm a size 6 because I put my mom's wedding ring on and it fit perfectly. So I go online, I order some rings because I want some new rings. I order them in a size 6. Tell me why. First of all, most of them don't even fit on my fucking finger. And I get one on. I'm going to share. It's right here. It's this little cute little gold one. It doesn't come off. It's like it's not to the point where it's constricting my blood flow and my fingers like purple and it looks like a sausage, but she's not budging.
I can't believe it's still stuck on. When did you put it on?
On Friday.
Oh my
It's just a
god.
part of my personality now. Like I just have this tiny little gold band on my finger. And it's
It's just
fine.
on
It's
your
like it's
finger.
comfortable, it's skinny enough that it doesn't get in the way, but I can't take it off. So,
It's right over the bone that it gets stuck on. That because once it gets over the bone, then it's like it has enough room to fit, but like to get it back over, that is my biggest fear is like having something stuck on me and not being able to take it off.
the thing is, yeah, like I actually took it off on Friday. I put it on and then I took it off because I just wanted to try it on. And then I put it on later that night because we went out. And ever since then it has not come off. So I know it can. I don't know if my fingers change sizes throughout the week. So maybe one day when it's less bloated, I
Mhm.
will get it off of me.
I mean, I
So
think the altitude in LA is it's like a pretty high, so your body might be a little more inflamed. So
potentially. Or I
yeah,
just need
so
to like lube it up and slide her off.
literally.
But it's
Mm,
cute. I
it
just
is
like
cute.
I like having the comfort and the peace of mind knowing that it can come off whenever I want it to.
Yeah.
But it doesn't at the current moment.
It's a part of you now. It's
It's
a part of
really a
your
part of me. It's like
personality.
how people are getting like permanent jewelry welded on, like permanent bracelets or anklets or whatever.
Wait, really?
No. Okay. Well, yeah.
That's
Like
a thing that
it's a thing.
happens?
It's a thing that's going on. So yeah, it's like my little piece of permanent jewelry.
I guess I could see that happening, like where you just get it welded on so you can. That's scary though. I would hate that. And like, what if you get too big for it and it starts I guess at that point you can like cut it off.
Yeah.
That's way too creepy for me.
Yeah. So I have a ring stuck on my finger. There's another one that I can get on barely. It's a real close call, but it's so cute. So I keep putting it on anyway, and I just
Oh
am in
my
pain when
god.
I'm taking it off. Sometimes
So,
beauty is pain.
so you might be like a 6.5 instead of a
Do they
6.
have half sizes for
Yeah,
rings? Oh, okay. Yeah,
the
maybe
rings
like a
have
6.5 or like 7. But
it.
like the 7, it just slides off my finger. So
I went ring size shopping, or like Emily and I went to like an engagement ring store because I don't know, it might happen.
what if
But
we both get engaged at the same time?
I was telling Emily that I'm like, I feel like it's gonna happen.
Should we
Like
have
it's
a
gonna be,
dual wedding? I'm
oh
just
my
kidding.
gosh, if we have a dual engagement, like a whole like party. But
We can share a wedding dress.
right, right. But I was like measuring my finger, and so my size of my band is a half size bigger than what they offer online, and it's so embarrassing because I have like bigger hands, and it's whatever. I'm not really insecure about it. But yeah, so like it's so embarrassing because she was like, okay, so what you need to do is you'll just, purchase the larger size and then you'll call the toll-free number and then just have them make it a size, a half size bigger for you. And it'll cost like additional money. And like this is so embarrassing. I was so like nervous to like go in the store and then see my training ass like trying on engagement rings. And I was worried they're gonna like clock me and because it's like something personal, like my hands
Yeah.
and knowing that they're like a bigger size, it's probably not norming. It's probably normal for people to have like bigger hand size. Maybe if they're like overweight or something, then or larger, then like maybe they have like bigger fingers. But I was so scared. But they were super sweet, and yeah, I don't know. I think I wear like a 9.5 or something like that. So if anyone wants to engage with me, That's my ring
Now you
size.
know. Our next video on YouTube, the comments are going to be, "You both have really big fucking hands."
My literal like slender man
Because we're
hands.
just like the entire time. You bitches have big hands.
I'm sorry.
Like we literally just said that we did, but thank you for.
Oh my god, literally.
Actually, this is like 35 minutes in. I don't even think they listen that long, so they might not even see it.
Right. They'll listen to the first 2 minutes and be like, huh, bitches are ugly and
Yeah,
leave.
like ugh.
Well, this one's for you guys.
Yeah. Fuck you guys.
Um, but yeah, I think right now, I don't know. Do you have anything else to bring up or anything? Any
No,
fun stuff?
I don't think so. That's pretty
Um,
much the gist of it. I got kidnapped and I have rings stuck on my finger.
yeah, I wanted to talk about how I'm like addicted to LinkedIn Learning, but I don't think that's interesting. Like, I'm just
You
like
are a
bored.
LinkedIn girly,
I
truly.
really am. But
You
follow
said
me on LinkedIn,
Instagram,
guys.
TikTok,
No,
no.
connect
I'm
with
gonna
me
be
on
on
LinkedIn,
LinkedIn.
guys. Right. I'm like getting all these like certifications on LinkedIn Learning and
Oh,
like I
she's
just like love it. I'm
professional.
literally so professional. Like I'm telling like all my teammates like look at the certificate I got on storyline,
I
articulate
can't.
storyline. And like you can get it if you have access to it unless you're poor and aren't subscribed to LinkedIn Learning. I
Yeah.
got it through my grad school program. Like not me fucking trying to one up everyone, but
All the recruiters are like, wow, I need to hire this
I
bitch.
know I need to open up my like my looking for a job option on LinkedIn, even
Yeah.
though I'm not, just so I
They're
can
gonna
get
say,
attention.
I saw your 67 certifications and I've never seen anybody have that type of dedication. So I think we need to have an interview.
And it's funny because the way to get certifications is for you to sit your ass down and watch like 3 hours of just content,
Yeah.
and then you get it. Not even a test or anything like that. They just give it to you,
You're a scholar,
literally.
truly.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I don't want to bore anyone with more LinkedIn Learning, but we can pop over to our pop culture because I think this is pretty interesting to talk about a more serious note, I think. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know if you want to like introduce it or anything like that, but there's been some stuff
Yes.
going on.
So there has been an outbreak of monkeypox, if anybody hasn't really been keeping up with it. And it has been pretty prevalent in LA, which is a little bit scary. And the reason we wanted to talk about it was because obviously it's a serious thing that's affecting people. There haven't been any confirmed deaths in the US so far, but it is like an outbreak, and we just went through a global pandemic. So I feel like anything like this obviously has the potential to stir up some type of fear or controversy. But the main reason we wanted to talk about it is because it is spreading, particularly within the gay community. So, bisexual men and gay men are the most at risk for contracting monkeypox. And there was like a lot of parallels that I've been seeing with monkeypox and the AIDS outbreak, which we were talking about a little bit earlier. So I think it would just be interesting for us to discuss how, there has been a tradition within the country, or not a tradition, but just a trend of specific diseases being prevalent in the queer community, and how people have been using that as a way to attack or spread hate to the community as a whole, just because this disease is going on, and this is like a serious thing. So we just wanted to bring light to the situation and talk about the parallels between this and the AIDS virus, and how people are kind of being discriminatory. I also have a story where two men were literally attacked and slurs were thrown at them on the street simply because they were gay, and they were inferring that they somehow had monkeypox, or were spreading monkeypox actively.
It's like this could happen in any community. Like a spread of a disease like this could happen within literally any community, and it just sucks that like it is affecting queer people in a rate that is I guess significant. That like I'm trying to see the actual rates for monkeypox spread. I think it's 98% are among sex or men who have sex with men. So it obviously is affecting the community. But instead of people seeing like, oh my God, this is affecting this marginalized community, we need to like, come together and support them. I'm worried that it is going to become this new like AIDS fear that people are gonna have. Like we need to stay away from gay people when this isn't a gay disease. Like the way that AIDS isn't a gay disease, it can spread among anyone. Like, it's not something strictly within the community. It is a virus that will spread. And so I think that, like, it's really unfortunate that it is kind of being lumped into this whole notion that it's going. I'm really worried about it, that people are going to really discriminate against gay people, because they're obviously not the ones that are going to be spreading it. It's gonna spread like any other virus, just contamination with people. I don't think it's airborne. It just comes with contact with people. I don't even know if it's sexually transmitted. I think it's literally just when you have close contact with people, then you just get it. But yeah, I mean, you're already starting to see people. There's like representatives that are like talk. Like someone said, Jeremy Redfern from Florida said, "We are now getting requests for monkeypox guidance from school boards. Guys, come on." Um, the I don't know, Surgeon General and Healthy Florida isn't going to let you put mask on kids for a disease that is almost exclusively spreading among adult men through sexual contact. So you're already having like a notion. It's like, why do we need to do anything if it's only affecting gay people? And it's like, that's not how this works. It has the possibility of spreading to other people, and we need to like make sure that we do what we can to prevent it. I think people aren't after COVID. I feel like people just aren't afraid of these horrible things that like can kill a mass large population of people. And we're fortunate that monkeypox hasn't had any like death related things in America, but or death related cases in America. But with any mutation of anything, it could potentially lead to dangerous outcomes. And I heard it's just super painful, so no one should have to go through that.
Yeah, and I mean, this type of thing did happen with COVID too. It started in China, and our first initial reaction, at least our government, was, "Oh, this is a Chinese virus. It's not going to do anything. It's not going to hurt anybody." And there is this notion that, when there is a disease that's spreading, particularly among a specific group of people, that it's only going to stay in that group of people, or that these group of people are dirty or filthy because they started it. And that's not how a virus works. Like, viruses don't discriminate against people. Yes, it might start in a particular community, but that doesn't mean it's not going to spread to the larger vast majority of the population. So I think it's important to understand that and not be biased or not spread hate against people that are actually in the community that it's referencing to. And like I mentioned recently, in northwestern Washington, D.C., two men were walking down the street. When they were approached, they were greeted by two men that screamed monkeypox faggots at them and proceeded to punch them several times on the street before fleeing. So, simply just two gay men existing in the world are already experiencing hate crimes because they are gay, and somehow that just means that they have or could potentially be spreading monkeypox around the city. So it's that type of rhetoric that people have, like, "Oh, this disease is only for these type of people." So we should gang up on them. We should spread hate towards them because it's not affecting us, it's just affecting them. And it's dirty and filthy for them to even be outside when this is happening.
It reminds me of with COVID and the increase in violence towards Asian people in America, and yeah, I just think it's super disgusting and something that we need to move away from. So ultimately, it is crazy that instead of we see these things affect, a group of people, and instead of finding ways or like talking about how to prevent this or how to protect this group of people, because it could affect literally anyone, right? It could affect any marginalized community. Instead of thinking of ways on how we can support them, or ways that we can, help them through these difficult times, because they are human beings. Like, we are all human beings, and we should be empathetic towards others. Instead, we blame them and we attack them and we target them, and that's not going to get us anywhere, because yeah, it's some random gay person's fault for monkeypox. Like, that's not how it works. And it's really gross. We don't blame white people for literally every other disease that's happened. Like, it just is. It's annoying, and I hate it. But yeah, it's just I don't understand why there's like a why it's pointed out as something I don't know, gay people are being targeted, and it just is super unfortunate.
Yeah. So definitely stay safe, everybody out there. I mean, obviously, it is something to be scared of, but I feel like as long as everyone's taking the necessary precautions to make sure that you and your partner are doing everything that they can to be safe, I feel like we'll be okay. It's just unfortunate. I think that's the best way to say it, is that, it is a pretty shitty thing to have to experience. Obviously, the people that are dealing with it and are infected by it are not having fun. And the last thing that they want to see is that people are in their community are being attacked simply for being gay, because gay people are now being linked to this disease, and it is a quote unquote gay disease. So, yeah, definitely stay safe. But at the same time, let's try and not pin this only on the queer community, because it's literally just a disease. It could happen to any community in the world.
Yep. And so I think that's a good way to and that, like you said, definitely stay safe and yeah, just be cautious out there. Spread love, not hate. Um, But I wanted to kind of move on to our main topic now. I know we went on a really long tangent in the beginning of just our personal lives. It's fun when we get to talk about what's been going on in our lives, and but I wanted to talk about this like serious thing that's been happening, or that I this feeling that I've had recently that has emerged, and I wanted to know your thoughts on it. But
Okay.
I tweeted out this tweet. I don't know if you saw,
I did.
if you, yeah. Okay. So I was talking with you about it first, and which is why I tweeted it out. So there's this trend on TikTok where people are like, talking about being a teenage dirtbag and showing like old pictures of them. So I wanted to make my own version of like this teenage dirtbag trend and showing pictures of me as a trans teen, just like, presenting as male at the time, and like me now, obviously. But like putting those pictures together and like putting it all in the TikTok, I was looking at myself, and every year I always go back. I feel like every year there's a period in my life where I like look back at old videos of myself, and every year I'm starting to feel further and further away from who that person is, and I'm starting to like get this like weird out of body experience of I don't even really resonate. I don't even know who that person is. To me, that's like a completely different person that like maybe I knew at some point, but like I don't have any connection with. And it is like a weird, scary feeling that I just like it hurts me a lot because I'm like, I don't know. I it's like I know it's me, but it doesn't feel like it. And you and I have kind of like different views on it. So I wanted to kind of know, what is your perspective of like when you look back at yourself pre-transition? Like how do you feel now that you're like what, 6, 7 years on hormones?
Mhm. I feel like most people have, there's two different groups. There's two types of ways to look at it. Some people are disassociating from who they were in the past, which is fine. And there are other people who are understanding that that person is who I was at that time and are okay with it and are comfortable looking back and reflecting on who they used to be. And both perspectives are definitely valid. I feel like I'm more on the side of, I understand that that's who I used to be, not who I am anymore. But it doesn't make me necessarily uncomfortable to look back at who I was. It is a little bit cringy, but I can relate to the aspect of not really recognizing who you were at the time, because even looking back to me 1 year in my transition or 2 years into my transition, I was such a completely different person physically and mentally. And just the way that I interact with the world, the way that I am able to speak with people, my confidence, the way that I dress, things like that, it's so different. So, in that aspect, it's weird to look back because this was you at this particular time. You thought you had your shit all figured out, but you really had no idea what was coming and what would happen in the future. So there is that sense of I don't know. I don't really know who this person is, but I still feel kind of like we are connected, but not necessarily just because we're so different now. So it's hard. I feel like when I look back at different stages in my life, the further I go back, it's kind of harder to relate and see myself in those shoes still, just because it's been so long and I've gone through such a big transformation. So I definitely can relate to certain aspects of it. But I feel like just in general, transitioning is different for everybody, and everyone has a different relationship with their past self. And there isn't a particular way to feel. So, whatever way that you do feel about looking back and reflecting on who you used to be is perfectly fine. It's interesting to see how different people, what their take is on it, because I know some people, it's hard for some people to talk about their past self.
I think there's also like this, I feel almost sort of an anger towards like, looking at myself back at the kind of person that I was. Um, because I was masking so hard to the point where I don't know, I just felt like I came off in such an unhealthy way where like I feel like it only hindered me in like the long run. Like I was super I feel like I mean to my close friends, I feel like everyone was like you're like super femme and like was like I don't know. I have a lot of people come up to me like afterwards and was like I don't know. Like I already got the vibe from you. Emily like caught it like super soon after we were friends. She like was I don't know, she kind of felt something. But I don't know, I feel like I was coming off as like super masculine, super like heterosexual and looking back at myself, I just kind of I don't know, I get this like gross feeling of like I was masking in a way that was super unhealthy and it was so hard for me to kind of, transition through because I felt like to everyone I did like this huge 180. I don't know, like there's like a weird part of me that like I don't know, I feel kind of grossed out or mad that I was doing that and then maybe that's why I feel so disconnected with that person because that entire time I was like having a mask on. I don't know, it was like yeah, super just odd. But I tweeted this and I got like I had like people share it and stuff, which I was really surprised that it like a lot of people resonated with it. I don't know, I was just kind of letting off some steam. It was kind of like a poem too. I didn't mean for it to come off like that, but it kind of read that way. But the tweet was parents mourning the loss of their child when they come out as trans. So, parents mourning the loss of their child when they come out as trans? Question mark. How about trans people looking back years after transitioning and not even recognizing the person they were? That's real mourning. I used to get mad because I remember so little of my youth, but now I realize it is because there is nothing there to remember. I existed to exist, and once I started living, I was just a dead stem that needed pruning. I mourn knowing that there had to be me before me, and that just doesn't seem fair. I was an infant at 19. And so I feel like that like sums up how my feelings were, especially writing that. Like just like starting fresh whenever I started transitioning, it just it was so hard to kind of get through that, get through the this idea of who I was like take off the mask. And it makes me sad knowing that I don't know, I don't that person I feel like I should acknowledge it or feel sorry for, but I don't even have this like it's weird. I don't know.
I do have a lot of feelings of frustration and regret, just because you bring up a good point. You are kind of masking, or you are masking. You're essentially lying about who you are. I feel like most of us already know at a certain age that there's something going on, but you push it back for so long and pretend like it's not there. So up until the age that you transition, you are basically living a lie. And it's frustrating to look back, in my instance, that I wasted 21 years of my life and didn't really start living until that point. And it's like you had so many years on earth, but you don't really remember anything because you didn't really do anything. You were so insecure. You were so in your head. You were pretending to be somebody that you were not. So when you start to transition and you actually live your authentic life the way that you want to, it's hard to relate back to that person because you weren't living your life at that point. You were lying about what was going on. And that's just how you lived for so long. So, in that aspect, I do definitely agree. I relate to that a lot just because I lied for 21 years of my life. So I'm basically 7 years old. And all of the experiences that I'm having now are things that I intentionally made myself miss out on because I was uncomfortable with who I was.
It's weird, right? Because like you essentially had to start fresh because for me, I was, I was someone that I just, my entire life, I felt like I wasn't who I was presenting myself. And once I started fresh, then it was like a lot of things that I needed to learn. Were you in like any relationships in high school or anything like that? Or were you like single
No.
throughout?
I did not speak to a single person in a romance. Actually, I was like a little catfish, like online, but in real life, I did not speak to anybody romantically until after I transitioned.
Yeah, and so I think that's kind of like a different situation that I had where I felt like I needed to present so masculine. I was like in a lot of these relationships that inevitably just made me even look back now and hate myself more. I tried not to be too hard on myself because prior to 18 I was a child. Like I was a child trying to get by in a way that maybe would in a world that accepted me, especially a child that had severe like undiagnosed anxiety, severe anxiety where I just couldn't go in any public place without having a fear of someone looking at me. And um and it was something that I suffered through my entire life, the social anxiety of people are looking at me and thinking a certain way about me, so I need to make sure I'm presented as masculine as possible. Getting into like heterosexual relationships with people to maybe feel closer with femininity, and like a part of me like is so angered by the fact that I did that because as a kid I was like, I don't know, I feel part of me feels like I was playing with emotions. And I don't, but then like I said, I was like I was a child trying to like figure out my life and who I was, how I felt. I would come out to friends like in middle school who would be like, that's fucking weird. Like, don't talk to me. And then like freaking out because I'm like, I don't know how to exist. I need to like push myself away from that. And I pushed so hard that now looking back, I'm like, I just dissociate so much because I feel free finally, but I also still feel so young within my transition that like, I don't know. I it's weird. And, like, I keep saying that, but it's super weird where I'll look back and I'm like, that person is completely no way near who I am today. I don't see myself in that person. I don't feel connected to them in any way. I had a friend that told me like a year ago, like I like they saw like an old picture of me and they were like, yeah, like you guys have the same essence, like my old self and my previous self. And that pissed me off so much for someone to say that to me because I don't feel that way at all. I don't feel any sort of relationship with that person, and it is sad and I mourn that fact. But um yeah, I just there's this dissociative thing that happens where I can't recognize that I'm the same person. And so there's yeah, it's an odd feeling where I know you said that you are able to like acknowledge that and kind of know that was the person you were and kind of were able to be yourself because of the thing. Yeah.
I do. It is so frustrating though because I mean nobody really knows what the fuck is going on when you're a child or when you're a teenager or even into your early 20s. But there is still some sort of security knowing that I mean for cis people if you don't have to question your gender identity or your sexuality. You don't really know what's going on. You're still growing as a person, but at the end of the day you have confidence knowing that I do identify as the gender I was born as, and I don't have any questions regarding my sexuality. And when you have those types of thoughts growing up and you do a lot of masking or you pretend like they don't exist or you suppress it and hide it deep down and don't address it at all, when you finally come out, it's like you're a child again because you were not experiencing the things that you were supposed to be experiencing because you were so focused on trying to figure out who you like or how you identify that you're a step behind. And for us transitioning, not only do we not know how to be like 20-year-olds and have fun and go to parties, but we also don't know, we have to learn how to be the gender that we identify now. So it's like a double learning curve where you have to learn how to be somebody your age and relate to other people that are in the same age group as you and do certain things that people do and go to parties and go to college and whatsoever. But you also have to figure out, how do I actually exist as the gender that I identify as? Because I didn't live like that for so long and I pretended like that wasn't me, but it was. And now I have to figure it out. And now I'm confronted with it. And it's just hard to relate to your older self at that point just because it kind of feels like a lie and a waste of time. And it's a little bit frustrating. But at the end of the day, we obviously wouldn't be here if it wasn't for all of those years of trying to figure out who you were and that person taking the first step to get to where you were today. That's how I look at it.
Yeah. Do you and even within like I'm still figuring it out. I'm like we're we're saying we're so young within our transition. I guess that we're like veteran trans people now, right? Like we're like six,
I
7
guess
years in our
so.
transition. So we're
Yeah.
technically oldies within our transition, but still so young because I look at myself, we started this podcast in 2019. Go listen to how I was talking. Go listen to like my voice then and my voice now and how much I've just like I feel like I've grown in a way where I'm whenever I first came out, I was super like I had to make sure that I was not the person that I was before. And I presented myself super feminine. And, I would still consider myself feminine. I associate myself with that identity. But I felt like I really needed to overproduce who I was to make sure that I was as far away from that person as I am. And I think this happens with a lot of just like women in general. As they age, typically I know women's voices just like deepen over time, and it's just they're not putting on this like infantized front. um because I know that like throughout their life it's kind of been it was something that was like you know that was pushed onto them. And so as women get older, they typically just their voice kind of gets deeper, more relaxed, and you kind of become more comfortable in who you are. And so I've kind of felt that progression as an adult, kind of becoming more and more confident in who I am now and less worried about, who I am, like how I'm being perceived within my transition. I do have bad days. I do have hard times listening back to this podcast and hearing my voice and not being super dysphoric. But I will say, even within the 6 years, I've changed so much with how I view myself in my transition. And even looking back at who I was when I started my transition, I still feel a disconnect. I still feel like I don't really have much memories of that time because I was going through so much mentally and I just pushed a lot down and I really, I was hiding my feelings. And so it is like a weird dissociative thing, even looking back in 2019 when we started the podcast. And I'm sure I feel this way 10 years from now. And maybe I'm overreacting or blowing this out of proportion, but it is like it's a unique, I think, experience for trans people, especially to, see yourself before previously. I mean, when I was like 17, I thought climate change was like a hoax. Like it was funny to be like a conspiracy theorist. So I thought that before realizing that it was like like a conservative sort of like ideology, like a whole thing
Well,
about
you
that.
are from Florida, so.
Well, so that was I had a teacher, like an English teacher who was like a devout like conservative, and like he would put shit in my head and I thought it was funny to like go along with it, realizing like, oh shit, he's like indoctrinating me right now.
Yeah.
And I came to that conclusion afterwards, but like that's what I'm saying. It's like you're so easily manipulated as a child that like I did everything I could for people to like me. And so that's why I think I'm so dissociative of like that identity.
It does just go to show how transitioning is ever changing and it literally will never end. We will be 65 years old and probably still feeling the same. we'll be 65 looking back at, oh my God, when we were in our 20s, what was that bitch doing? Like,
Literally.
she needed help.
I'm
So
I'm I'm excited. I'm excited for me to have kids one day and for them to kind of maybe want to look back at our because our whole lives are online. So maybe one day our kids
isn't
will be
that's so
listening to
weird?
this episode.
And
Right.
that's another thing. It's like you cannot find, I mean, you probably could if you searched hard enough, but you could not find anything about me before I started my transition. Like, if anybody wants to look up or learn anything about me, you can go back to the very first day that I started hormones. And that's like when my life starts online. It's the first day that I started hormones. So it's like everything that I went through before that doesn't even exist because there's no record of it. I didn't take any pictures of myself growing up or anything. So yeah,
I'm excited for our first episode together. I want us to react to our first videos on
that'll
YouTube.
be
I
hilarious.
haven't looked at it in like a long time, so it'll be interesting to kind
We
of
still have to
just.
do an episode high.
Oh my God,
We've been talking
literally.
about it for years.
I'm surprised we haven't done that. That would be really fun.
We should. Oh my God,
Yeah.
next episode. You live in Washington now. It's you have better
I
access.
know,
So
right? And it gets me so fun. It hallucinates me. It
I'm
makes
just
me
saying.
hallucinate.
Just
All
saying.
right, but enough of that. We're like super like long episode,
You
but
guys are in for a treat, honestly. We are already an hour and 6 minutes. We're six
it's
minutes
literally
over,
1 p.m. right now.
and we have not done our two favorite segments.
I
So
know.
that's how we have to end. We have to share. We have to. We cannot end the episode. Who's going to
Yes.
complain that we talked for an additional 20 minutes?
I think people like
Nobody.
longer
I feel like
episodes.
if you get to an hour, you're not going to mind another 20 minutes.
Right. I think you'll be fine.
So I hope traffic is extra bad today. So that you can finish listening to this.
Yes. All right. Did you want me to do my Am I the Hassle
Yeah, let's do that.
first?
Am I the asshole first?
Okay.
Dramatic readings with Girlish.
We don't have to talk too long about it because I think this one's a little more serious. I have a
Okay.
serious one and I have a more funny one. Let me do the more funny one because I feel like
Okay.
we'll have it'll be a whole tangent if we go on the. So this one's a little weird, but I'm just okay. You're in for a treat because this one's like just weird. All right. So this is am I the asshole for publicly exposing this guy who urinates on my property? Also exposing the fact that he's transgender. So, here it is.
This is loaded. Okay.
I just moved into a neighborhood last year into a largish property, maybe a little less than an acre. There's a grove of trees nearby and a shed that the previous owners had that now we have and we use. So they have a shed that they use. In the autumn, I started noticing a urine smell near the shed when I went there. I thought that someone's dog might have started getting loose and peeing. So I set up a hidden security camera nearby, one party consent state. So they're a one party consent state? I don't know. To catch the culprit. Well, it just so happens that the next day that I caught the person in the act, it was the college kid from down the street whose family just moved in this year. He ran off before I could catch him, but I had the security footage. I was furious and immediately clipped the part of the footage where he comes into view without actually examining what was happening. I wasn't really thinking straight, so I uploaded the short clip to Gmail and sent the video to our neighborhood HOA admins. Except I accidentally typed in the wrong mailing list and instead sent it to the community instead with the complaint. So it kind of reminds me of our little thing we were talking about earlier where the video was supposed to be like maybe sent to a
Yeah.
smaller group of people but was sent to the entire community. But now everyone has seen the video and they can see him crouching. There's no genitals. I reviewed the footage later. So they now see him crouching to pee, but in the video, he has no genitals. Which, okay. And then see me chasing him off in the middle of him doing his business. His parents were furious with me and demanded a public apology and monetary compensation for exposing his delicate situation to the world. He responded with an essay about marginalization of trans people in the thread in the meantime. So now I feel like I could have possibly ruined his life in the short term. Other people in the community definitely seem to give the family a wide berth in the afternoon when I'm walking my dog. On the other hand, I haven't seen him on my property since. So, am I the asshole? What a fucking stupid
Okay.
story.
Um, I have many thoughts here. So, while I don't think it's necessary to really like share a video of somebody peeing literally in the act, like you could have just said somebody's peeing on my property. Like you don't have to show them in the act. But at the same time, why are you peeing on someone else's property?
Okay, so the child, whoever this is, for sure has to have some sort of like, I don't know if it's like a disability or something. I can't imagine like a person just doing that,
There has to be a
especially
reason.
right, especially like a trans person who maybe, I don't know, is more. I don't know what the whole purpose of going to someone's specific lawn in this specific place, marking your territory like a dog or
Are you
something.
a dog?
Literally doesn't make sense. Also, it's funny because the person saying like there was no genitals, like
They have
because
genitals, babe.
because I'm sure that people who were born with vaginas have genitals,
It's
but okay.
Barbie. It's Ken.
It's
Ken's
giving,
peeing
yeah,
on the shed.
it's giving Ken, but yeah, I mean, I don't think you're like the person. I think the whole situation is weird, right? Because like if this was like if you know that this is a kid and you're sharing this, isn't that also kind of like
I was gonna say that too.
isn't
Like
this like right? Isn't this kind of like child
it's
pornography?
in a little bit of weird territory. I will say, I feel like just the and I guess the best way to handle the situation was to approach the family directly. I don't think it was necessary to share it with the entire community. I don't think it was necessary to share them literally peeing and imagery of that because I don't know. I don't feel like that was necessary. But at the same time, I would like to request more information and know as to why this individual is peeing on someone else's property because that's just very strange to me. I want to know why. I feel like we're not getting the full story. Um,
Yeah, I
so to
just
answer the question, asshole or no?
um n- mm, asshole in the way they handled the situation, no in their reasoning for being upset.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Have a reason to be upset for sure. Your feelings are valid, but maybe the situation wasn't handled 100% correctly.
But also kind of a slay that they didn't reach out to the police because I feel like that also would have made progress things into maybe like dangerous territory. So like
And they also do feel kind of remorseful, like, oh, maybe I kind of went about it the wrong way. So,
yeah. I mean, and they said that they weren't aware. They didn't see any like they weren't even thinking. They just saw a person, peeing and they were like I need to like send this to the HOA. But it's just a weird thing to send a video, maybe especially like
yeah,
unprovoked, just being like this happened and I have video footage and like I don't know, but it was a little odd to just be like look at this motherfucker like peeing on my lawn.
yeah.
Like
I guess I
yeah.
would say no. I don't think they're an
Yeah.
asshole. Um, that's just a really fucking weird situation.
Yeah, it has less to do with this
So,
person's transitioning and more to do with like why is this person peeing?
it's just
Like,
like a weird, peculiar thing to happen.
yeah. I like in what world? Like
Yeah,
I can't even like begin to envision this, but I hope that that person who was peeing is okay. I feel like it's such an odd thing to do. Like it doesn't make like I don't know, I hope that they're okay and that
same.
their
We're
family
praying.
is supporting them and that the community isn't too weirded out or maybe it's past.
Thoughts and
But
prayers.
thoughts and prayers. But Reddit has put a label on it. And so Reddit believes that they are not the asshole. So
Okay, so we agree.
yeah, I mean, someone was like, don't trespass on private property. The kid is not an animal marking its territory. It's a person who can go in their own house and use their bathroom. So I think people are looking at it more of a like a legality thing and a
Hmm.
moral thing than like a they're trans and like they were kind of exposed type thing. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess I can see it both ways. I don't think this kid's transition had anything to do with it. I think it might be
No.
like, yeah. So, not the asshole.
So no. If you're listening, you're not an asshole. That's just a very strange thing to happen. I would
Yeah.
probably be a little weirded out too. So I saw someone peeing in my
Urinating.
yard. Like what?
All right. Okay, I want to hear your dramatic reading because you've been talking
Oh
about
my
this like
god. Okay.
nonstop.
So I have a dramatic reading for you all. It's from. Should I share the username? This is from Texan Queen Bee, and it's a response. So I think last week there was a Pride event in Canada, and in the middle of the parade, a 4-year-old basically came out as trans. So this Miss Texan Queen Bee is just sharing her thoughts on a 4-year-old coming out as trans. So she says, in this country, you have to be years old to vote. You have to be 16 to have sex. You have to be 18 to watch porn and 21 to vote. But this 4-year-old is old enough to choose if they're transgender? God help us. My 32-year-old daughter was actually a tomboy and loved to play with boys' toys. No girly toys, etc. But she did a complete 180 when she was in ninth grade and became a girly girl. She recently said to me, "What if you chopped off my breasts, Mom? What if you what if you gave me hormones? I wouldn't even be able to have the family that I had today if you did that." This is so heartbreaking. I I didn't know that you have to be 18 years old to watch porn.
I didn't
Did
know
you know
that
that?
either.
I
No.
didn't know there was like an age requirement for that.
I
Because
mean,
the first time I watched porn was definitely before 18. So I guess I broke the law. So,
I'm calling the police.
yeah.
What? That's really funny because like, oh, shut the fuck up.
It's so funny to me that I don't think your 32-year-old daughter asked about what would happen if you chopped her breasts off. I don't think that was a conversation.
Also, want to know how old you have to be to get surgery?
Hmm.
18. You have to be
Since there's
18 years
so
old.
she's so concerned about age of consent, age
Oh
to
my
have sex, blah blah
god.
blah. Like, yeah,
I
I
like
just thought that
these
was funny.
people. I just want to grab them and yell at them. Like, how ridiculous are you? That was so funny.
I was so taken off guard by that. Like, what if you
Mm.
chopped off my breasts?
What if you chopped off my titties?
I wouldn't even have my children. I wouldn't
Oh
be
my
able to breastfeed
god.
them.
Like it
So
just
crazy.
as a child, I especially as a child that knew I was trans. Like I've known for a long time. I'm kind of it like upsets me knowing that like other kids who are expressing themselves in that way and maybe they do take it back when they're older, then they'll do that. And especially if a parent is accepting that their child is trans, they're going to be accepting if their child is like actually never mind. Obviously no surgeries or medication is being given to this child. Maybe puberty blockers that's reversible, but like this is why are people like this? It's in
And like,
Canada?
yeah, and not like all tomboys say that they're trans. Like, just because you're a girl and you like to
Right.
play with trucks, not every girl that plays with trucks says that they're trans. So it's not like a universal thing. Only the kids that actually feel like they are trans are the ones that are saying it.
Yeah.
So there's not like a link there. It's like kind of common. Like, there could potentially be a girl that likes to play with trucks that ends up coming out as trans, but it's not like the blueprint. It's not like an alert, like, oh my god, she's playing with trucks. Is she gonna transition? Like, it's really not. Like, kids just like to play with toys, and sometimes it can lead to them transitioning, but other times, honestly, most cases it doesn't. So
Right.
yeah,
Emily, when Emily was growing up, I hope it's okay that I'm saying this. I'll ask her before I post it. But when she was growing up, when she was like in middle school, she told her mom, she was like, I want you to buy me boy clothes. Like she wanted boy clothes. Never saying she was trans or anything. And her mom was like, okay. And they just like went to Walmart and she just picked out like boy clothes and she wore
there's a
it.
difference. Yeah, like there's a difference between I want boy clothes, I want to wear boy clothes today, versus I think I'm a boy.
Yeah,
There's a
and
difference.
exactly, exactly. It doesn't like right. And so obviously she's not trans and she never came out as trans. She just wanted to express herself that way. I don't like the whole like tomboy thing, but like I guess if you can label it as that, she was just not afraid to like wear boy clothes and like that didn't affect her gender identity because clothing doesn't affect your gender identity, but they're how they feel, who they are. And if you're having a child say that they think they're trans, then it's definitely something important to make sure that you comfort them and so they know they're loved, they know they're accepted. And so that just is so annoying. That's really funny though that her daughter, she was the one who was so pressed.
We love Texas Queen Bee.
In Canada.
Texas Queen
Wait,
Bee and Texas Princess. So
Texas
the
Queen.
parade happened
Oh,
in
oh, got
Canada,
it. Got
but
it.
I think Miss Texas Queen Bee is from Texas. That checks out. So
That checks
she's
out.
not Canadian, but
Okay, so we still stand the Canadians.
we
We still
still
hate the
love
Texans.
Canadians. Yeah,
Oh,
Miss
Miss
Texas Queen Bee and
Texas.
Miss Texas Princess that doesn't want her boobs chopped off.
I hate it. That was really funny.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
god.
yeah, that was your daily dose of psychotic energy.
Yeah. We loved like the conservative like icons that just like give us content. Like thank you. All
Yeah,
right. Well, I can't wait to talk in the next episode when Texas Queen Bee
when she
picks
literally
you up
kidnapped me.
and runs away with you.
She's like, I heard you were talking shit.
Yeah, maybe the daughters. Never mind. I'm gonna like that's too far. Never mind. But yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed this special long episode. We have all these new segments. It's fun to go a little over sometimes.
It is. We just like to talk. Everybody knows this. We literally ramble
Yeah,
about
and
anything,
it's fine.
and you're still listening. So maybe you're
Please
okay
let
with it.
please comment down below. What's a random word that they can comment to see if they got this far?
P. Urinate. Urination.
Urinate. Urination. Please comment urination to let us know if you got
Yeah.
this far in the episode.
That means you are a true girly.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you
Thank you for
guys.
that. Yeah. So I hope you guys are going to enjoy this an hour and 23-minute long conversation that we're having. You can follow us on all of our social medias. We have a YouTube channel, we have an Instagram, we have a TikTok, we have a Twitter, literally everything if you want to see us. We've been posting a lot of like shorts, just like little clips and funny segments that we have during the episodes. So definitely follow us, rate the podcast, give us 5 stars. That's the only correct answer is 5 stars.
Yes, please. We need it desperately. We have an attack. We have a 4.9 on Spotify. They're trying to
Babe, I
bring us.
have some news for you. We don't have a 4. We
No.
have a 4.8 now. But we've gotten so many new reviews. So it's fine. It's fine. It's okay. I think it might be those YouTube people, but it's okay. It's fine.
Mm. Well, please support us on all these platforms. Leave a
We
nice
can't
little
be
review.
perfect. It's
We can't be
fine.
perfect, right? We're doing our best.
We really are.
But thank you guys for watching. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.